as you go into this next season and grow your game?
For sure. I took every opportunity last year to just maximize what I had going on and play with intensity and consistency and force, use my physicality to get to spots that I want and start creating more spots on the court where I want it to be effective. And it's just expanding. And then this year is just expanding on that.
Brandon may have let something slip when he was in here. He said that behind the scenes, the coaches have talked about emphasizing you getting back to the dominant defensive player of the year from a couple years ago. You do so many things on both ends of the floor. Is it a challenge sometimes to like balance the levels and balance everything to what's going to be the greatest impact to the team in terms of all the things you can do?
Yeah, a lot of it is game by game. You got to do sometimes it's attacking off the dribble, sometimes it's spacing the floor at your shooting, sometimes it's both. A lot of the times it's both. If you can do everything really well all the time, that's great. And yeah, defensive prowess, man, just getting back to being an animal and being everywhere at all times, having the offensive player just fear you when you're around and think of different things, whether you're not changing the shot, you're just changing their decision-making as well.
Hey, Jaren, nice to see you again, man. How has playing with Zach Edey so far, and how do you see that playing with him making your game even better?
Yeah, he's huge. Takes a lot of attention. So I think a lot of the times when he's out there, I feel like I'll be able to be a little bit more stealthy with blocks that I get and have more confidence when I'm guarding the ball that he's there as well. And yeah, it really hasn't been a lot because even in a lot of runs we've had, I've been against him. So I'm starting to understand what people are going to be dealing with, and they're dealing with a lot. So, and he hasn't even played a game yet, and everything's in front of him, which is great. He's going to learn so many different things and little things about himself where he'll be able to be so effective that we don't even know, things that he'll figure out on his own. So him just being as a rookie, and I think everybody who you've asked about him has said, sky's the limit for him.
You've now been through more of these season starter days, I guess, than anybody else on this team. Is there any aspect of starting a new season with new hope that you enjoy the most?
It doesn't really get old. Except maybe the photos, same poses. But it doesn't really get old because it's just a mark of the beginning of a lot of excitement, tour, seeing places, seeing the country at such a fast rate, playing a bunch of games at a high level, and you're all competing for the same thing. Like there's nothing better than the season. And when the summer's long, you really learn that there's nothing better.
Hey, Jaren. Zach Kleiman said earlier that he thinks you, Jar, and Dez are the best three-man core in the NBA. Firstly, do you agree with that? And then if so, what sets the three of you apart from other cores?
Zach Kleiman or Zach Edey said that?
Zach Kleiman.
Okay. I had to.
Would it change your answer?
It's been that for a little bit. Yeah. What sets us apart is just I just think how we prepare and our attention to detail is just at an all-time high, especially this year. I think we've just taken so many leaps in how we take care of ourselves on and off the court, our bodies. We're trying to outwork each other all the time to the point where when it comes together to compete against others, it's like a puzzle piece. It's easy. Like we have that competitive nature all the time with each other, with anything. And then when you add in, like, we pick each other's brain on ways we can get better in all things. There's so many different things I can go into on what you do off the court and on the court, and how to work on your body, work on your mind, work on your movements, your speed, your everything. And I think we've really taken a leap in that. So that's what's going to set you apart at this level. It's not really just going to be talent at this point. You have to actually outwork the next person for real. And 0.1% is going to be the difference in a lot of areas.
Jaren, a few minutes ago, Ja said a happy Ja could be a scary Ja for other people, that he's in the right mind frame. What we talked the other day, but what have you seen from him that should have the league concerned about the Ja Morant that's going to come back after the issues of the last year or so?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's healthy. A healthy player is it's a confident player. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from, and it really don't matter what emotion he is. He can be any emotion, and he's gonna be great. So yeah, he told you he was happy. I'm glad he's happy.
One other question was, I don't know if you heard the news this morning of Dikembe Mutombo passing on as a big in this league, and your dad playing in the NBA. Just your thoughts on what Dikembe Mutombo meant to the NBA, and I don't know how much you were able to see him as a youngster, but your thoughts on his passing.
I mean, I knew him my whole life, so yeah, it's not a good feeling at all, especially because it was like finding that out right before I even came in here. So, I gotta call my dad.
Jaren, everyone keeps talking about, like, how with Zach Edey, he'll kind of help you be able to do some of the things that, made you Defensive Player of the Year with him being on the floor alongside you. But we haven't really talked to you much about that from the standpoint of, like, what in particular, with him being on the floor, will lead to, in your mind, if that's the case, some of those same numbers, or even positioning-wise, putting you in those same positions to be able to do some of those things you did, a couple years ago?
I just want to say, like, I think, because I'm still on this, but I've known Dikembe since I was very tiny, and he had a lot of impact on my life, especially his enthusiasm. He's my dad's roommate, so that's really somebody who was in my corner before I was ever good at basketball for real. And he was always telling me how much more gifted I was offensively than him, even when I was younger, and I wasn't as gifted offensively as I am now. And and as I got older, and he would always check up on me and cuss me out and talk trash and just be himself, and just always give me advice just in a really loving way, and then flip and really have real advice to give you that would really stick with me a lot. It's not really just somebody I connect with because of defense or anything like that. Like, it's real personal. And then as I got older, off the court wise, I mean, he's a genius. This man was building schools all over the world. He's a part of so many different things. I went to see him a couple times, one time in his office, and one time then one time at his real office that got, like, way bigger when he really kind of, I don't want to say made money, but, like, he just had it like that. He had an assistant. I was making fun of him about that. Like, I had to get basically, like, I was in a waiting room, and I'm thinking, like, you ain't never. But yeah, dude, he changed everyone's life, who he was around, and yeah, that's all I got.
He was your dad's roommate at Georgetown.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have. Thanks, Jim.
All right.